Welcome to the Spent the Rent podcast. I am your host, Patty Rose. So this is the first episode of season 5. I cannot believe that we have 4 full seasons of the Spent the Rent podcast. I wanted to say a few things before I get to the guests. You can go to the website STRPOD and you can donate. You can purchase merch. I've been working this last month. I've taken off from the podcast, trying to kind of build the behind the scenes stuff. So I want to say, first of all, thank you to all my past guests who have just been incredible. I have learned a tremendous amount about our community. I want to say thank you to my sponsors and to those of you who believe in my vision to share stories of the underrepresented of Lane County. If you would like to donate to the podcast, like I said, go to strpod.com, strpod.com, and click donate to become a one-time or monthly donor. There's a lot of different options. There's YouTube, Patreon, Venmo. I'm going to put some links at the bottom of the screen if you're watching this also on how to find that stuff. So yeah, and I just appreciate everybody so much. This has just been such a cool undertaking, and I'm so proud of where it is today. And I promise to keep going and bring in cool, stories to you. So let's get to the guests. Today I am joined by representatives of the 40th Annual Slug Queen competition, Maiya, Becker, and the reigning queen, Galaxia Cosmos. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Hello.
This is super exciting. I have heard of the Slug Queen competition. I have never attended. And so it's going to be really cool to find out more about what it's all about. And I think the Slug Queen competition personifies Eugene almost more, or if not as much more than anything in Eugene. It celebrates weirdness, which we'll talk about in a little bit. I think it's a wonderful event. And so, let's get into it. This SLUG is an acronym that stands for the Society for the Legitimization of Ubiquitous Gastropods. And the Slug Queen competition is an annual event held the second week in August that crowns the unofficial Goodwill Ambassador of Eugene, Oregon. Like I said, this is the 40th year, just like me. I'm 40. Maiya, let's start with you. Tell me what the Slug Queen competition is all about and what is in store for this year's competition.
So the competition is a tongue-in-cheek pageant. We judge on costume, talent, and your answer to our question, but it's all very, very silly. Like, if you take yourself too seriously, it doesn't kind of work out as well. And so since this is our 40th, we've got all sorts of stuff. We have buttons, we're going to have stickers. There's going to be it's just going to be a little bit of a bigger show. It's going to be a lot more fun.
So now Galaxia Cosmos is reigning queen, and it's not spelled typically. It's Eugene Reign. It's RAI and reigning queen. What does your past year look like, and what are the duties of Slug Queen and whatnot? And tell me a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, I remember the night that I won. Queen Sadie Slimy Stitches said, "Now that you're queen, you can do anything you want, including nothing." And I feel like I've taken that to heart. I did promise when I was crowned to reign with general moistness, and I think this spring showed how serious I was about that part of the job.
Yes, it was very moist.
The queen who came before me is a very organized person who I think made a really big impact in the Slug Queen community in terms of keeping information in a central location, making sure everybody, had access to that and scheduling things. And it's very important to have diversity in Slug Queens. So I represent the disorganized Slug Queen who only showed up to about half the things I promised to show up to. I was very excited, talking about duties. I was very excited to gift the city of Eugene something at the dinner club of Eugene. What is that called? The dinner club, City Club. There you go.
Yeah.
And they invited me to come and present the gift to the city, and it could be anything of my choosing, something silly and metaphorical. And I spent so much time overthinking my gift, and then I just stopped answering emails, and they got another Slug Queen to do it. So I think that's a really important lesson that I learned, is that as queen, somebody else will always pick up my slack. That's been an important lesson.
That's amazing. And I love that it's like, do it as you would please. I mean, you were crowned and very deserving, I'm sure. But there's no love lost. Like, it's like, you do you. You do you. That's amazing. That's the whole point. If we're supposed to have fun in these kind of things, it shouldn't be pressured.
I did really love reigning at the Jello art show at Mod Kearns, though. That's an annual event that I was really looking forward to being queen for, because it's something that I heard about as a kid on the radio here in Eugene.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, a Jello art show. That's so weird and cool. And, to attend it years later, before I even became queen, it is so unique and creative. And so I absolutely did show up. I promised to show up, and then I did show up. So
that's good. Then that's good. Maiya, so you had mentioned Galaxia Cosmos. You had mentioned Maiya is a past queen as well. So let's talk about that a little bit. You never lose the crown or the recognition that comes from being Slug Queen. The name changes to Old Queen or Very Old Queen, depending on how long it's been since your reign. Maiya, what does it mean to be a past queen, and how is the shared legacy so important to the annual event?
Okay, so we never say past queen. One of our mottos is once a queen, always a queen. Our fabulous person who wrangles us queen together, the First Lady in Waiting, Kim Still, she makes every crown and sash for every queen every year. So we don't have to pass on our crown. We don't have to pass on our sash. It's ours to keep. And like Galaxia said, in regards to not showing up, sometimes the reigning queen just can't make it or doesn't want to make it. And so there's always this whole gaggle of other queens that we can put out the word and we can show up. And so we're just always around. Being an old queen, honestly, is more fun, I think, than being the reigning queen, because you get to go to all the parties and have all the fun, but you don't have any other responsibility. So old queens, you'll love being an old queen. But yeah, so this is my 10th year anniversary. I was crowned in 2012. So I'll get a new pin, and I'm going to become a very old queen. And then at 20 years, it's extremely old queen.
At some point, you get to pick your own.
And then I think at 30, because we'd only recently had our, 30.
Sure.
We were just like, you can be whatever kind of queen you want. So I think there's a dangerously old queen.
Oh, is it? And ridiculously old?
A ridiculously old queen. And so, but yeah, I mean, there's so many, all of our queens have so many different talents and strengths that really all together, when we work together, we can pretty much get about anything done.
That's cool. I mean, and the collective is just, it's got to be quite the honor to be involved, to be a part of, and so I'm going to talk about this at the end of the episode, but this coronation, the competition and coronation are going to take place on the park blocks in downtown Eugene, Friday, August 12th at 6 p.m. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, the festivities start at 6. Show starts at 6:30. It's where the Saturday market is. You can't miss it. You head down there, you'll see all of us.
Right by that fountain, and all that stuff.
Bring your own chair. BYOC, bring your own chair. Wear a mask
face mask
if you can. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because COVID is definitely on the rise. It's never really gone away, but yeah, it's definitely something that there will be. It's an outdoor event, so there's opportunities for social distancing and that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah.
Let's talk about kind of a little deeper dive into this. Like we had said, this event celebrates the weirdness of Eugene. It's open to anyone over the age of 21, all genders. And the Slug Queen is hermaphroditic. Is that correct? You had said something about that?
Slugs are hermaphroditic. Slugs, have both types of reproductive machinery, I guess. But I, the reigning Slug Queen, am intersex, which is, for animals, when they have like both of the mechanisms for reproduction, we call that hermaphroditic. For humans and aliens, because I'm, neither human nor like an earthly slug. I'm an alien slug. Slug from outer space, Galaxia Cosmos. Anyway, we say intersex because it's not like the perfect combination. It's not like two intersex people could reproduce together in a huge variety of ways. It's just like not completely male or not completely female. So I am the first openly intersex queen holding the title, and first openly transgender queen. I'm non-binary, and Yeah, so it's the Slug Queen. The title is gender inclusive, or
Right.
not gender specific.
Sure.
So it's a role, and however you feel like inhabiting that in your gender exploration
Right.
is welcome to be explored and performed on stage. And if we like it, then you just might win.
That's one of the cool things too. This event gives an opportunity to kind of raise awareness about different things, about different social causes, and also, blur rules. There is no rules, so when it comes to that, it's like you were saying, it's like anybody can kind of just express themselves any way they see fit for this competition, and that's an amazing thing to kind of carry over into everyday life.
Right. Really, the only guideline we have is family friendly. Family friendly.
Right. And and that's the vibe that I've gotten from everybody, is that this is a very family friendly event. Some of the people that I've talked to in promoting this episode that are older, 50s and up, that were like, oh yeah, I brought my kids for we've been to this many, many, many times. And so that's really neat. What are some of the different social causes and different areas in society that the Slug Queen competition has been able to raise awareness of? There's so many.
Yeah, so each queen can pick a cause or something to promote, bring awareness to. When I ran, I brought attention to MECA, the Materials Exchange Center for Community Arts, because I love creating art out of trash, basically. And they have a lot of great services. Queen Slugasana did the food to waste program, I believe, or the food in school. So she created gardens at schools, and so that way the students could make their own gardens.
I like Queen Markelo Parklow, who is on the board of directors of the Lane Independent Living Alliance.
Yeah.
And he's been a lifelong advocate for accessibility for the disabled community.
Yeah.
And this is, it's a fundraiser, correct? There's a lot of organizations that, at least on the website, is it slugqueen.com is the website, I believe. You can
Queen
Google
Eugene.
Slug Queen Eugene.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And you can Google
it.
I'm the disorganized queen. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But
Yeah.
there's a list of organizations that the Slug Queen has helped, and it's an awesome list, and
Yeah.
Galaxia, let's talk about your coronation or your competition. So first of all, like, what the whole thing looks like. There's a talent show, or what is it? How does it look?
Well, I believe we might be changing it up slightly this year, but the general, it's a pageant like any other. We're competing to see who's the best at being a slug. And we, what that means to you varies. And so I think it's up to you to convince the judges that your embodiment of slug is the queenliest. But you are judged on costumes, talent, and your witty response to an unexpected question.
What was your question that you had?
My question was from Queen Holly Goes Slugly, and it was, if you think about the chicken dance that we have as a custom here on Earth, that you have as a custom here on Earth, how would I rewrite it if it were a slug dance? And so I had a little impromptu 30-second dance with Holly Goes Slugly.
It was great.
And that was very fun. It involved some
I
don't know.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was a spur of the moment thing. But for my talent, I had a little talk where I encouraged people to embody their emotions from the last couple of years, since we had to cancel the pageant the year before, and to acknowledge the fear and sadness that has been happening in our community due to COVID, and the just sort of fear of how to move forward, or what moving forward will look like. And then acknowledging that we were all there at the pageant because we believed in sort of the healing power of silliness, and in coming together as a community respectfully and with safety protocols would allow us to grow together and be stronger together.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Thank you.
We had a laugh together.
I encouraged everybody to cry. So
Yeah.
I like to think that I'm the best slug because I made everybody cry.
That's an accomplishment. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, the talents run the gamut. I hula hooped while knitting. That was my talent. But we've had a queen vacuum as her talent. We've had a queen who has a slug-shaped birthmark, so he showed that off and circled it, and that was his talent. I mean, it's really, you get 3 minutes, whatever you can do in those 3 minutes, as long as it's family friendly.
Yeah, and I
There's
mean,
no
there's a old queen that's was an accordion player. Is that
yes,
correct?
Queen Accordiana. She will be doing our music for this year's show, so she'll be, helping with the transitions in and out with her accordion. So
I wanted to give a shout out to Katie Deatley. I hope I'm saying that right. She said, "All hail the Slug Queens. Much love." Thank you for your comment. There's the comment on the screen there. Thank you so much, Katie, for that. Yeah. So again, it's Friday, August 12th, 6 p.m. downtown Eugene. I was reading as I've been doing research for this event or this interview. I was reading and following the Facebook page, which I encourage everybody listening, go to Facebook or probably Instagram and all the social and all that. Look up Slug Queen. There's going to be stuff throughout the year that I think is great. Not only, I mean, one of the beauties of it is it's lighthearted and fun, but it brings you will be doing events that a lot of people may not be aware of. And so that's what I was seeing by scrolling on the page, is that there's a lot of events that it's really neat for people to maybe they don't know that they're happening. So that's a great thing.
That's my favorite part of being queen, is I got to learn about organizations and nonprofits and grassroots community and people who are doing things in Eugene, Springfield, that I had no idea was happening because I don't require those services, or it's just not part of something that I have ever needed to look up. And so you really, really get to see Eugene from a unique perspective, and not only just see it, you get to be a part of it. It's really, truly my favorite part.
I think people look to Slug Queen to highlight those unique cultural experiences in Eugene and Lane County. And I've also tried to do a little bit of that for Oregon as a whole. But definitely, I would like if Slug Queen represented, just a sort of intersection, or a cross-section rather, of people who know about weird things. So if you want to know what weird things are going on, look to the Slug Queen Facebook page, and we're mostly all producers that we have put on fundraisers of our own or created other art shows and whatnot. And so I've tried to highlight in the last year when Slug Queens are putting on shows and say, like, yeah, this group of weirdos, we're always doing something.
Well, you were recently promoting the Star Trek theater that's happening today.
Trek Theater is happening today at the Irving Grange.
Yeah, so I mean, that Trek Theater, it's a little silly. We're there.
That's cool, and that's what I try to do with this podcast. And I say it all the time. It's like when we're independent. I like the word producers that you use. When we're independent producers, creators, whatever, it's really important that there's a ton of people doing it. It's like we need different people in different corners to be a collective so that we can all kind of get the word out about different things. And there's crossover. The one thing that I love is that I've met other podcasters locally that we never are in competition with each other. We're always saying, like, you should interview this guest that I just had yesterday, because we want as many different people to be able to hear from these, I always say underrepresented corners of our community. And it's like, I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to. It's like with podcasting, I'm like, if we can get 100 of us, then we can silence Rick Dancer. No, but not silence, but just kind of, have an alternative too. And I think that's it. Life is about choices, people. So now let's talk about some of the judges this year, or the judges this year, some heavy hitters. Val Hoyle is the commissioner of Oregon Bureau of Labor and Industries, and she's running for Congress in Oregon's 4th Congressional District. And then also Bethany Grace Howe is a board member of Planned Parenthood of Southern Oregon and the Special Projects Advisor to the Cascade Relief Team. And then Kyle Rodriguez Hudson has recently been selected as an executive director at Transponder nonprofit. Kyle is also a licensed clinician in Eugene and specializes in working with BIPOC and LGBTQIA plus communities in crisis. So really valuable work that's being done in the community and some heavy hitters. That's really exciting, you know, and again, I learned that from the social media page.
Yeah. So the queens are the ones, whichever queens show up to the pageant, to the coronation, are the ones that get to select the next queen. But we always have celebrity judges, generally about 3, to help keep us honest, is what we say. And just kind of help people celebrate the party of the Slug Queens.
Well, it's great. It's another opportunity to highlight good work being done in our community.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
So
I'm
we have another
excited
comment. Well, go ahead.
to be involved with the judging process.
Yes,
this
will be your first year judging. Yes.
Oh, so now let's talk about that. Do all old queens and very old queens and dangerously old queens and ridiculously old queens, do they all judge? Is it added that did they get a vote?
If you show up to the coronation, you get to vote. So some queens can't make it. Some queens choose not to come, and so they don't get a vote. But
so whatever. This is going to go. If you show up, Galaxia, this will go against your track record, right? So,
I mean, I have like a 50-50. Like I think unexpectedness is part of my brand.
And we have 7 contestants this year, which is quite a bit. That when I ran, we had 7 contestants, and I think that was the last. So I guess every 10 years we'll have 7 contestants.
That's really good news because I saw recently that there was a post that there was only 2. So you have.
Eugene always waits till the last minute for everything, and so.
Right. Are they? I don't want to like egg it on. I was going to say, did they give you the applications and then you just didn't hand them in? Is that the issue? No, I'm just.
You gave it to me. It's my fault.
Yeah.
No, thankfully, I don't think any of the old queens are. I think they're all wise enough. Let's say. To not have put me in charge of anything. Yeah.
No, the applications were available online in English and Spanish. We closed the application process last Friday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. So that's going to be a fun event. So again, it's Friday, August 12th at 6 p.m. downtown Eugene. We have another comment, and I'm hoping that I read this name right without dyslexia. So Fuster Cluck Farm says, Slug Queens make the best tour guides. Looking fabulous queens. So
hi, Queen Holly. That's Queen Holly.
Okay, so that's really an interesting thing. So is it possible for people to contact the Slug Queens through their website if they want a tour, or something like that? Is that an opportunity?
We get contacted for all sorts of things. I got contacted to judge an employee chili cook-off at a printing company. I mean, it's just totally random stuff.
Yeah, I appeared in the law school party, I don't know, mid-semester appreciation something. I was in a Jeopardy game.
Yeah. Oh, cool. So we always try to get the reigning queen to be the one that makes, because it's the reigning queen's year. But if they can't make it, us old queens are ready to step in. So, but you can get a hold of us for anything, and we'll try to.
Well, Holly Go Slugly does the mural tours.
Yeah, Holly Go Slugly does the mural tours.
So that was a little self-appreciation post, which I'm into. Love it. Good to see Holly.
Did we already mention? I don't think we mentioned the origin story. I want to talk about the first year, 1983. Like you had said, this is the 40th year, but because there was a year canceled, we're a year off on the chronological year by year, whatever. So 1983 was the first one, and it was Queen Bruce that was the winner. And are you aware of what Queen Bruce's talent was, for example? Or I mean, is there that legend?
I don't think it had quite the structure back.
Oh yeah,
I agree. I don't think it had quite the structure. But isn't Queen Bruce the one who was a postal service worker?
No, that is Queen. I cannot think of his
40
name,
now,
but he looks like Santa Claus.
I'm sorry to not know everybody's name, but I do just want to say that I love postal service workers. Thank you for your work.
I'm going to look it up here.
Yeah. So now the first year there was, I just read this morning, that it was the 20,000 people or 25,000 people converged in downtown Eugene for the opening of the Holt Center. And that there was
Queen Dave. Sorry.
Okay. So there was a big event downtown, and they were going to plan the Eugene celebration to what was then, at the time, there was no name for it. And
Right.
there was
They wanted something like the Rose Festival in Portland.
Right.
They want Eugene's version.
There was a push to call it the Eugene Slug Fest.
Mhm.
And that is kind of, from what I've read, that is kind of where the name, some of the inspiration for this, because it was almost kind of like even though the Slug Queen has been known, and for many, many years when the Eugene celebration was still a thing, to lead the parade. Is that true? That as the unofficial goodwill ambassador of Eugene.
To rain on the parade.
Yeah, to rain on the parade. Yeah,
And
that's that and the Jello art show are pretty much the two things that all queens show up to, or
if they feel like
it. If they feel like it.
Even I showed up to the Jello art show.
That's awesome. So yeah, that was really interesting. And for anybody that's new to the area, the Eugene celebration was downtown, and it was an amazing event. I didn't know about it because I lived in Springfield, and back in those days, it was just a different world. I mean, it was a lot bigger deal. I'm talking about when I was like middle school, but early high school, I started going to it, and it was so much fun. And then unfortunately, the city was running it, and then it changed hands, and someone else was running it, and it became more about, revenue and that kind of stuff. But, to be fair, these things cost money. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, and there's a lot of challenges. They started fencing off downtown, and obviously there's just downtown. Anytime you have a city of a certain size, there's going to be interesting characters downtown, and there's going to be that's the way that it is. I celebrate it. I think it's a good thing. I think that in a lot of ways, that's what makes a town a city in a sense,
right.
Is it has the culture of just people of all different walks of life. But it was a challenge. I remember they fenced everything off, and then you had to pay to go downtown. And I was a heavy drinker in those days, and so I was bar hopping those nights in my 20s. And I was kind of just disappointed. I'm like, I just want to go to Lucky's. I don't want to have to pay, but
yeah, a lot of people had that feeling.
Unfortunately, it went under. The Eugene celebration was no longer. And then they tried a couple different things. I think I always get Skinner's and Spencer's Butte mixed up. What's the one that's on the river? The one with the water park. The little
Spencer's Butte.
Spencer's. They had an event over there for a couple years, like the Eugene event. I can't remember what it was called, and it just didn't stick, and it's really difficult to get these things organized.
Yeah, and we had the parade still a couple years, and then it's gone away. But I know Queen Slugosina and Queen Slugata Slamshine, and I think even Queen Glow, they're working on trying to bring the parade back.
That's exciting news.
Yeah. For a little while, there was like the Eugene Transportation did the Sunday Streets events where they took over different neighborhoods. And so the queens would show up to that because it was sort of like a neighborhood celebration.
Yeah.
So,
I want to give a shout out to the Eugene Weekly, because the Eugene Weekly does such an excellent job in showcasing everything that is Slug Queen. The covers, the picture of you, Galaxia, is just awesome.
Isn't that the best?
Oh, it's so good. And they do such a good job. And on the website, again, I'm going to look it up. I think it's just slugqueen.com, but I mean, literally, you can Google it.
Well, Todd Cooper is the photographer who took the picture that ended up in the or on the cover of the weekly. I believe he designed the cover as well. And he is a really friendly person. I always appreciate people who are both good at their job and a pleasure to be around, because personally, I don't care how good you are at doing something. If you're not a nice person, I don't want to be around you. But Todd Cooper was great to work with, and clearly he is extremely talented photographer.
Yeah, and I mean, they're just impressive, and the Eugene Weekly does such a great job of spotlighting the underrepresented, and something that I don't know. I just am really appreciative of the work they do. There's a really great story, and this is a side note, but there's a really great story right now about two skaters, unfortunately, two young skaters that passed away. That there's so I'm going to try to spotlight that if I can. But I definitely recommend people to go get the weekly this week and read about that. I know that they took the weekly red boxes out from LTD stations during the World Championships, but we won't get into that. No, but no, there's a lot of reasons for it. I mean, the security for those massive events like that ended up being tiny events, but still.
Well, as long as you're, giving a shout out to the Eugene Weekly, I will say that during the pandemic, which I guess it's still the pandemic, earlier in the pandemic, I actually subscribed to the Eugene Weekly, which I believe is a new service. But because I know that a lot of their income comes from events advertising in the weekly and other businesses advertising. And since, not a lot was happening. I value independent journalism and local journalism so much that I decided I wanted to give them a little money on a monthly basis. So you can go to their website and make a one-time donation, or you can also subscribe to their service so that you don't have to go out to look for the red box of Eugene Weeklies. You'll have one delivered to your mailbox.
I did not even know that.
I did not know that. That is
I didn't
really,
know
really
that.
awesome. That is really good to know. And yeah, I mean, it is very expensive for businesses to advertise to begin with. And so when there's not revenue streams like during the quarantine, that is going to be a challenge. And I'm sure that the Eugene Weekly suffered greatly from it. Every corner of society did, and it was really difficult. So I'm so glad that you said that, because I was not aware that you can do that. And that's really good to know. Okay, well, so again, this event is Friday, August 12th, 6 p.m., downtown Eugene. I did look it up. It is slugqueen.com is the website. Okay. And so anybody can go to that.
That's good. You shouldn't trust me.
Yeah, luckily I'm staring at Google, so it was really easy for me to do that. Yeah, so I mean, thank you both so much. This is really neat. I can already tell from the comments, from the promotion behind the scenes about this event or this interview, how much people love being a part of it. And so I encourage people to go, and then maybe next year they can apply and become
absolutely
become a contestant, and if they're lucky enough to be coronated. So that would be really cool.
We have queens that run multiple years before they were crowned. So.
Like a Grover Cleveland. That's right. Probably not like Grover Cleveland.
No, a lot more sailor.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Grover Cleveland, but anyway, so I want to give it another chance. You had that shout out. Is there any other shout outs? I'm going to put you on the spot. So is there any other shout outs you'd like to give? And this doesn't just apply to just Slug Queen. Is there anything that either of you would like to give a shout out to Eugene and people in Eugene that are doing some wonderful things that sometimes don't get enough recognition? I know that that's an on the spot thing. I'll give one.
Buena Vista Elementary popped into my mind. I thanked my elementary school teachers when I was crowned, and Buena Vista Elementary is a Spanish immersion program, and I was really very lucky and privileged to be able to attend that school as a kid. And I don't know if there's people out there wondering where to send their kids to school. I definitely, Buena Vista, learning Spanish at a young age helped form my brain to be able to think about concepts in the world in a different way. And I'm so grateful for that. And I always had great teachers. Of course, most of them have retired since then, but
teachers in general.
Public education teachers,
yes.
And any other teachers, but
right.
But especially public education teachers.
Yeah, for a few years in a row, there was a school in the Bethel district that had Celebrity Reading Week for their first graders, where they had local celebrities come in and read a story to the first graders to get them excited about reading. And they invited me a few years, and it was always so fun. I would read a book called Slugs in Love. And then we would also go over a book on nudibranchs, which are sea slugs, because they're so different. Sea slugs look so different from each other. And so it was a great opportunity for a conversation for diversity, that like anyone can be a slug, no matter what you look like, no matter what kind of slug you are. And then the kids would just ask the best questions, like, do I live in a castle?
Sure.
Do I have cats? So
now, you had mentioned Spanish speaking. I want to, that just reminds me that I need to plug this. I was invited, and this is really exciting. I was invited to table. I'll have a booth and for a meet and greet at the 25th anniversary SAFER event, which SAFER is a organization in Springfield that works for inclusiveness and diversity, but it's really put on by the Latino community of Springfield. And I was really like, are you sure? And they're like, if we're not inviting everyone, then it's not a diverse event. We want you to be there. What you do is really cool for the community. And that meant so much to me. Nice. I don't speak Spanish, but the goal is it's really an event for everyone. It's open for everyone. It's at Tyson Park in Springfield on Sunday, August 14th at 3 p.m. And cool. There's going to be a lot of different people there. But the point of it is to share community resources with people that sometimes get, they don't really get included in the conversation. So that's something that I'm really looking forward to. That'll be my first meet and greet. I'm going to have a booth. So come down, see me on Saturday at Tyson Park in Springfield at 3 p.m. I'll be there early at 2. So That'll be really fun.
Yeah, even though we're the Eugene Slug Queens, we've done Springfield events. I hosted a Springfield art walk 1 month. Some Slug Queen fans get a little salty about that. But, we spread the love. We're here for everyone.
Well, maybe that should be in the talks of making this go national, and then you can have a Springfield one or something. But,
Right.
I think it embodies what Eugene is. And I think that the beauty of, I am a Springfield resident, but I've lived in both towns and I claim both towns. And I don't care what anyone says. And so the thing that I love is that we can kind of go back and forth and whatnot. I mean, it's so funny how not different and how very different the two towns are. It's like we are the same community. I mean, you live in Springfield,
Mhm.
and there's so many things about Springfield that I'm proud of and so many that I'm not. And the same could be said for Eugene. So that's just the way that it goes, but I do love Lane County so much. And Lane County extends all the way to the coast,
Mhm.
all the way to Florence. And, I claim Florence in a weird way too. That's our beach. I mean, as long as you keep it clean, guys. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. I appreciate you both so much. Maiya, it's been a great thing to get to know you and your family. Brandon and your husband and you are both just incredible human beings, and your kids are incredible. I'm honored. I was telling you off air that Brandon's been growing his hair out, so I haven't seen him in the barbershop, and I'm grateful that we can become friends behind the scenes beyond just, cutting hair.
Right.
Because I was wondering, like, what did I do? He grew his hair long. So he looks
it wasn't personal.
He looks great, by the way. And then Galaxia
so.
Cosmos, it's been a pleasure to meet you as well. And thank you for the work that you do or not do, depending on the mood the day of.
It's really important to not do things sometimes.
I think
absolutely.
I'm giving you a hard time about it, but I am 100% in agreement because I am an avid napper, and that is something that I think is a great accomplishment. I just think that there should be no pressure. Now, this podcast sometimes can be daunting for me because I keep it up, but the challenge is something I like. But if I don't want to do it, I just don't do it. And
well, I am a person who lives with physical disabilities as well as depression and anxiety, and I think it's really important to normalize that. Sometimes, sometimes I don't feel up to going to things, and the dinner, I had every intention of going. And I don't know if it was anxiety that interfered or what. It's all a big, mishmash of executive dysfunction and difficulty. And I really am forced to embody that all the time with everybody I interact with because I just am disabled. It's something that I don't really have a choice about whether I can hide that. So it's good to have a person who is disabled also be elevated and respected in the community. And people say, oh, you're the Slug Queen, so I should respect you. And then I'm like, yes, you should respect me. And also I am not always going to be able to follow through with things because that is just the way that I live my life all the time.
Sure. So, and I can relate completely because I have a lot of social anxiety myself and imposter syndrome and all kinds of different things that when I've learned that from Michelle Obama. It was my favorite thing because I had never heard that. And I read that in her book and I'm like, that's me. That's so many of us, and but that being said, I thank you for sharing that too, by the way, because I think that by just, not admitting, by talking about this openly, it's just the way that we're wired. It doesn't make anything wrong. It's nothing wrong. It's just the way we're wired. And there is so many times where I plan on going to events, especially Friday nights, that because I'm sober now, I'm like, I don't want to go if there's drinking. Sometimes it doesn't bother me. Sometimes it does. Sometimes I won't know until I get there and I'll be there for 10 minutes. That's fine. We're adults. If you don't feel comfortable, you can leave.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like there should be no obligation to just be having fun. It's like, well, if I'm not having fun, I'm not going to fake it. I'm just going to go do me somewhere else, And so I thank you so much for sharing that because I think that's really important. I'm going to try to do some spotlights on some mental health topics. And one thing that I want to do is I want to do some episodes about mental health for men because it's something that's not talked about a lot. And I think, my friend Zach Bassett, shout out to Zach Bassett, has told me some stories on my podcast about how challenging that can be. And I think that it would be really good. I also created a Discord that's really not at a place yet that I really need to promote it, but I'm going to be having a room for people that they can talk about mental health concerns and whatnot and how to navigate that. Okay. Thank you both so much. August
thanks
12th,
for having me.
You're very welcome. August 12th at 6 p.m. in Eugene, Oregon, downtown, the Slug Queen competition.
We're going to have an ASL interpreter. Also, we got a grant for it to make it more accessible. So we're going to have ASL interpreters, and it's also going to be live streamed for those who are unable to make it. So,
And that's on our Facebook.
And that's
right?
on our Facebook. Yes.
I think this is last comment. It says Miku hot soon. I don't know if I can say that. He said, "Oh, a Discord," and "Yeah, I'm incredible," which is amazing. And I know that's Bailey, so shout out to Bailey.
Is that Bailey?
Yes, that was the
Hey,
first. That was the first Twitch comment, and so anybody listening again, this is on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And Bailey is my only Twitch follower, so that is really cool. No, I have like 18, but it's really getting off the ground. But this is live right now on Twitch for the first time, first live interview on Twitch, and I think there's going to be really, really, really exciting things coming. One more thing I want to say. I'm going to be doing some after hours streams Friday nights on Twitch that are going to be a little bit less buttoned up, I guess. It's going to be kind of loose conversations, but I think it's really going to be awesome. So stay tuned for more details about that. So, hey, thank you so much. We're going to jump out of here.
Bye, everybody.
Everybody go to the stream or go to the event August 12th, 6 p.m. in Eugene, Oregon.
Thanks.